It's a happy all-time high day for Bitcoin holders, with Bitcoin pushing towards 100k. But on the contrary, altcoin holders right now aren't feeling as great because alts are sluggish, either chopping sideways or actually declining. So why are altcoins performing so badly despite this massive Bitcoin pump? And when will the market reverse for altcoins? And when will we see an actual altcoin season? Because apart from memes, we haven't really seen that yet. Well, in today's video, I'm going to unpack the mystery behind what is happening right now. It's a weird market dynamic which is currently occurring, but I want to help you make sense of it because I have the data today to help make sense of where we currently are in the altcoin market and help you navigate the next few months in crypto. This video is just basically dedicated to answering the question of when is altcoin season? And once we answer that question, let's talk about how you can actually navigate this market over the next 6 to 7 weeks. So let's get straight into the content. If you do enjoy analytical content like this, make sure to click that subscribe button and turn on that post notification bell because I upload every single day a variety of fundamental deep dive analysis, market updates, and more on-chain / practical analysis like today's video to actually help you navigate this market better. Like I will tell you right now, the current market dynamics are quite rare. We haven't really seen this since 2020. I think the end of the year is when we last saw a period like this where Bitcoin was absolutely ripping and leaving altcoin assets in the dust. And it does become a difficult market to navigate because usually people, they look at the Bitcoin price, right, and assume, look, if Bitcoin's going to be bullish, that means alts are bullish, right? But that's not really where we are in the cycle at the moment. So I want to break all of that down. I've got some amazing data to show you today, which I think is really going to help you make sense of everything right now. And I have a cheat sheet to show you to help you make sense of the current market environment. There are also a couple of moves that I've made with my personal altcoin portfolio to try and prepare for what I do believe is coming over the next couple of months. So let's dig into it today. Firstly, congrats to all Bitcoin holders. I know not everyone on my channel is an altcoin holder. A lot of you do hold Bitcoin, at least, you know, the slightly wealthier ones. I mean, even myself, like I hold Bitcoin in my long-term portfolio. I've been accumulating a lot of Bitcoin. I really believe in Bitcoin. You can see I've got a Bitcoin behind me. Like I'm a Bitcoin bull, but even myself, like my portfolio naturally is more skewed towards alts because that's where I've seen the greatest gains on, you know, coins like PEPE, WIF, on the RWA coins like, you know, Ondo and Mantra. These Pendle, these have been some of my strongest gainers this cycle. So naturally, my altcoin portfolio has become bigger and bigger and actually ended up exceeding my Bitcoin portfolio, even though intrinsically I would love to hold more Bitcoin. So even though I hold Bitcoin, I still fall in the camp that a lot of you probably fall into of, you know, damn, I mean, it's nice to see Bitcoin pumping. I guess it's good for the market, but when are my damn altcoin bags going to run? We both totally align on this, and I've spent all morning speaking to my researchers and unpacking the data, and we've put a lot of effort behind this video to, you know, really help you guys contextualize where we currently sit, because I'll admit it is a weird market right now, and it is a little bit different to what we've seen over the last few years. As I mentioned, we haven't really seen this since the end of 2020. Looking at the Bitcoin chart here, you can see that we broke out of the bull flag that I highlighted on the last show. Pretty aggressive breakout, and now we're heading towards 100k. Would not be surprised if we do hit 100k in the coming days here. Happened slightly earlier than expected. This is honestly one of the strongest, biggest, most powerful Bitcoin runs I've ever seen. In terms of market cap, pure dollar value, it's the biggest Bitcoin run of all time in terms of market cap being added to Bitcoin's total market capitalization. So we are in the midst of an unprecedented Bitcoin rally right now. But you know, in 2021 and even earlier this year when Bitcoin went on huge rallies like this, alts would front run, right? Not really what we're seeing at the moment. We are seeing more liquidity continue to be sucked into Bitcoin, and there's somewhat of a black hole, like a money trap effect that is happening at the moment where Bitcoin is gobbling up all of that liquidity in the market, not just from existing market participants, but from new market participants, TradFi, retail. They are pouring money into Bitcoin right now via the Bitcoin ETFs. You can see here that the far side numbers have crazy gains over the past, almost $2 billion in terms of inflows over the past 3 days going into the Bitcoin ETFs. So that just shows you the demand, and you can see it contextualized on this graph here for Bitcoin on the stock market. Now, this doesn't mean institutions. Institutions are actually, I think, more geared towards CME. Obviously, they're is a lot of institutions that are, affecting this, but I do think there's a lot of retail as well. A lot of like mom and dad investors, a lot of people that were hesitant to get on exchanges that now have accessibility through these ETFs that are now deciding to position, and that's why you're seeing this aggressive repricing. Also, the fact that now these ETFs are part of other broader index funds mean you have this passive bid for Bitcoin that historically we have never seen before. You also have many pro-crypto and specifically pro-Bitcoin catalysts at the moment. For example, Donald Trump considering creating a dedicated White House role for crypto policy. We know he's been speaking to Brian Armstrong potentially about this, which would obviously make US history. And Bitcoin right now, maybe alongside DOGE, are being treated as like the proxies right now to speculate on the Trump inauguration, and not just that, but on a potential forward-thinking America to do with digital assets, specifically Bitcoin. There's been all sorts of questions about a Bitcoin strategic reserve, and all of this just adds firepower to the Bitcoin narrative, which explains why Bitcoin is outperforming right now. And a lot of this bid, as I mentioned, is coming from the traditional markets. You can see the Bitcoin industrial complex, which is MicroStrategy and a few other stocks like the Coinbase stock, etc., have absolutely crushed their record with $50 billion in volume today, which is crazy. MicroStrategy alone was $32 billion of it. So Michael Saylor is on an absolute tear here. This might be the biggest and best trade of all time, with him just continuously adding Bitcoin to his balance sheet, levering against that and adding more. It's absolutely genius. I mean, until it's not. But I mean, so far, it's been absolutely genius. And MicroStrategy is a major beneficiary, which is being treated like a proxy on the stock market. Coinbase also doing extremely well. Obviously, the Bitcoin ETFs also doing extremely well. But interestingly, although we're seeing a lot of flows, aggressive inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs, we're actually seeing aggressive outflows from long-term holders, so Bitcoin whales that are actually selling off their Bitcoin. So as price has gone higher and higher and higher off the back of all these ETF flows, we're actually seeing whales start to sell. So what I would hope from a Bitcoin perspective is that the inflows keep maintaining pace, because if the ETF inflows stop now, if they slow down, you may see this aggressive selling on the long-term holder side start to catch up with the market and add a bit of a supply drag onto the market in the case of lower demand coming in through the Bitcoin spot ETF. So I'm not trying to alarm you necessarily. I'm just making you aware of the fact that these ETF numbers need to remain strong. If they start to weaken, we can see this selling that we're seeing from long-term holders and whales start to impact price. Now, my personal belief is that around the Trump inauguration, I think it might be a buy the rumor, sell the news event, in the sense that a lot of this positioning that's now happening in the traditional markets probably starts to slow down a little bit into the Trump inauguration, because right now it's the Trump trade. Similar to how there was the Trump election trade, this is now the Trump inauguration trade. So I would not be surprised if, okay, maybe Bitcoin continues pushing up for a little bit, but then we see a bit of a flush out maybe slightly ahead of Trump's inauguration, because people start to unwind their trades that they're actually taking, betting on this. I would not be surprised if that's the case. So for that reason, I think this data becomes a lot more relevant then in a few weeks. But, at the end of the day, Bitcoin is still doing really well. Momentum is still with Bitcoin. It's still going up. It's still rocketing. But what about altcoins? What are altcoins doing whilst Bitcoin is skyrocketing? Well, they're not crashing, but they're down, or they're going sideways, or simply they're underperforming. I mean, that's the simple gist of it now. Now, you'll see a lot of meme coins are down over the last 24 hours, and it makes sense, right? They've run up so aggressively. We had that big run when PEPE and WIF were added to Coinbase and Robinhood, and all these meme coins were, really exploding. It's natural to see a little bit of a decline in the meme coin market, and I do view at some point, we'll discuss this slightly later in the show, these to be potentially great accumulation opportunities to get your hands on some meme coin trades that you missed. But by and large, it's not just the memes, the altcoin market as well. Lots of L1s, L2s, infrastructure plays, AI coins. Some of our smaller cap AI coins are actually pumping, but some of the larger caps like, Nia, Render, Tau, they're not performing, and a lot of coins fall into this category of they're suffering, right? And why are they suffering? It's because Bitcoin right now is the big liquidity black hole. So in terms of the altcoin market, there is definitely a little bit of fear at the moment. I wouldn't say it's extreme fear, but I think it's a little bit of FOMO, seeing Bitcoin pumping so much and alts moving sideways. A lot of people are answering the question, why? Why is this happening? And will altcoins, ever come back and have an altcoin season? That's something I'm going to discuss today. I've got the data, which actually does verify this. So before we get a little bit deeper into this data, I want to actually announce something for the Mars High Club members. I have my full thesis for the meme coin that I've been discussing, which I have now revealed in the Discord, by the way, dropping later today. So it's going to be an amazing piece. I had a lot of fun writing it because it's got a lot of lore behind it and a lot of intrigue, and it's just a really cool meme coin narrative in my opinion. So I'm going to be dropping that full thesis, full breakdown with all the data and the reason why I've actually been accumulating this coin later today in the Discord. So if you do want access to that first, because I still might not speak about it on YouTube for a number of days, if not until next week, you can click the link in the description below to get access to the Mars High Club, and that is where I'm going to be posting all of the early alpha. And of course, the group is absolutely amazing with a bunch of top tier analysts like, of course, myself, but also Paradise, who's our low time frame trader, Fabian, who is our small cap gem hunter, Doc, who's our high time frame trader, Morin as well is on the high time frame charts, and we also have a bunch of apprentices, half a dozen apprentices now in the Discord to actually help people. They're there answering questions all day, so it becomes an amazing educational resource as well. So link in the description below if you want, of course, access to that full thesis on the new meme that I accumulated. It is, I think, right now sitting around a 20 million market cap, so it's by no means big. It is still relatively uncovered. I'm still not seeing pretty much anyone talking about it on YouTube and Twitter, so I was one of the first to actually jump on this narrative, and I think you're going to see it only get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's one of my potential 10 to 20x plays for this cycle, potentially even more if it really takes off, but as you guys know, I like to be a little bit more conservative, and I'm a bit more of a realist on this channel than some of the other channels. So 10 to 20x, I think, is genuinely on the cards. And if you do want access to that full thesis today, it's going to be posted very, very soon. I've already written most of it, just making some final touches. And after this video, I am going to get it out for you guys in MHC. So that'll be a great, really, really fun one. Now moving on to the altcoin discussion. So let's have a look at some of the data. The others BTC chart, which tracks the altcoin index excluding the top 10 versus Bitcoin, continues to be in a downtrend. Now this is a clear sign alongside dominance rising that right now it is Bitcoin season. It's obviously not altcoin season, and until this starts to reverse and paints a bit more of a bullish picture, there's no real reason to suggest that altcoin season will begin yet. It's kind of a weird position because you have crazy hype in the retail contingent of the market, with Coinbase now the #1 app on the App Store. Robinhood for finance was top 2 as well, yet that is juxtaposed next to a pretty weak altcoin market. And it's weird because typically you see retail coming back when altcoins are pumping, but now retail's coming back when Bitcoin's pumping, mostly because of the memes. I think a bit of it's Bitcoin, and that's dragging attention into the crypto market in general. But a lot of it is obviously because of the memes. But even the memes over the past 24 hours have started to sell off. So what is actually going on? Well, let me break it down for you right now and give you some data and my outlook. This is the stage in the cycle where Bitcoin sucks all of the liquidity. Bitcoin is essentially a black hole right now. So think of Bitcoin in the middle as a big black hole, like the thumbnail of this video, and then all of the altcoins just getting sucked into it. Their liquidity is just getting sucked into Bitcoin. Because what's happening is a lot of people that would normally start speculating on alts or position in the altcoin market, they're still riding the Bitcoin trade. And a lot of retail that is speculating on crypto right now and this Trump trade, they aren't speculating on altcoins to capitalize on the Trump trade. Maybe memes, maybe Doge. But apart from that, they're speculating on Bitcoin. So this is that stage in the cycle. It's actually very similar to what we saw in late 2020. It's not dissimilar, where Bitcoin pumps and alts are left behind. So I personally think that alts will continue to be choppy and behave irrationally until dominance drops. And let's have a look at dominance right now. So we can see on the weekly chart, it's above the money noodle. I think alt season will not begin until we start to see a reversal. So firstly, a lower low on dominance, a break of this noodle, which is a momentum indicator. Then you can start to target 50%. But until then, I think dominance will keep going up. To be honest, for the next month, there's no reason to suggest this is going to reverse. I don't like calling tops. I'm a trend trader. I want to wait for the trend to shift. Right now, it is an uptrend. Why would you expect an altcoin season in a dominance uptrend? I'm waiting for a downtrend to start to establish to really verify altcoin season. Benjamin Cowan here, who's been one of the big proponents of this dominant rise, says that he thinks for the next 6 to 7 weeks, alts will keep bleeding on their Bitcoin pairs. So I would largely align with that. I still think there's nothing to suggest that this is going to reverse. And even if it does start to reverse, I'm not going to call that the second we see a green candle on alts. I think it's best to wait for a full breakdown in Bitcoin dominance before you get really excited about alts. Now, here's the alpha. Screenshot this, bookmark this video if you want, but especially screenshot right now and take note of this. I'll post it on Twitter later as well. I have a cheat sheet in front of you, and this shows you what happens to altcoins in different periods of the market, right? So right now, we are in phase one. Bitcoin dominance increasing. As you can see. Bitcoin also increasing. As you can see. If Bitcoin dominance increases and Bitcoin increases alongside dominance, alts decrease mildly. That's why it's not bright red, it's mild. Now, if Bitcoin dominance continues to increase whilst Bitcoin decreases, this is when you get a mega dump on alts. Now, we haven't seen this yet, but I've got a feeling it's coming at some point. I'm going to always be honest with you on the channel. When I say mega dump, it's no reason to sell your old portfolio or panic because a lot of us are in positions for the cycle, right? But I do think we will see at some point when Bitcoin reverses a bigger reaction from alts because right now the strength is with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going up, but dominance is going up. If Bitcoin drops, I actually expect dominance. It could drop a bit at first, but I expect it either to stay stable or go up. And if it does go up, alongside Bitcoin dropping, that is when you see that altcoin sell off. So I have sold some stuff in my portfolio today. Not a lot, just trimming, 10%, getting some stables up in case I do have to take advantage of a little bit of an altcoin capitulation day. The good news in terms of, the bulls here is that altcoins aren't really hot in terms of their funding rate. So it's not like we're going to see a big leverage flush out. The only real leverage positions right now are really the Memecoins. So it's not a reason to be, I think, crazily alarmed, but you might see a bit of spot selling, which could give you some better entries. So it's a great thing for people with stables. I think at some point you will see phase two come in. What is the next phase? And it's not necessarily in order, by the way. This is just a cheat sheet, right? But I do think it may happen in order like this. If dominance increases while Bitcoin's stable, alts remain stable. Now, alt season happens when these three things are happening. Decreasing dominance with an increasing Bitcoin price leads to a crazy increase in alts. Now, this is where people are getting confused. Everyone's saying, Miles, Bitcoin's increasing. Why aren't alts increasing? Well, it's because dominance is increasing. Still increasing. You're thinking of that crazy altcoin season, so you're mentally thinking back to 2021. You're saying, well, Bitcoin was pumping then. Why aren't and alts were pumping as well. So why aren't alts pumping now when Bitcoin's pumping? Well, it's actually because dominance is still increasing. You need dominance to decrease while Bitcoin increases in price for alts to go up. So Bitcoin here increasing, right? That could be an alt season if dominance was also decreasing, but it's not. It's increasing. So if you look at the cheat sheet, Bitcoin dominance increasing with Bitcoin increasing equals alts having a slight decrease, which is what we're saying right now. So it explains where we are in the market. You won't see an altcoin season, which is this third last one here, this really green increase thing on alts, until dominance decreases alongside an increase in Bitcoin. And then the other two scenarios are also okay for alts. One is a stable scenario when Bitcoin and dominance are both decreasing. And the other one is when alts significantly increase. And that happens when you have a stable Bitcoin a decreasing Bitcoin dominance, and a stable Bitcoin. Now, this is usually the final phase of the cycle where Bitcoin tends to remain stable. So it might go to like 150K and just chop around that range while altcoins absolutely pump. And that also results in a Bitcoin dominance decrease. So I think this is a really valuable cheat sheet for those that are just a little bit confused right now because it helps you understand the market a little bit. Should you be worried right now? Well, I said I'm selling, some alts, not a lot. As I said, 10%, trimming some, topping up on stables. I took some new positions in the last few weeks. I even, as I mentioned before, put a decent chunk of capital into this coin, which I'm mentioning on the Discord, my full thesis tonight. I've already revealed the coin, by the way, but tonight I'm going in depth into my full thesis. So because I've been deploying into some stuff like this, I have to take some money from somewhere, right, to top up my stables. So trimming off the top is something that I did today just to top up my stables across the board to potentially be able to buy back in if alts do end up dropping. I think right now, though, you can do that as a preventative measure, but otherwise just sit back and chill. Like, just enjoy the Bitcoin pump. I know it might make you FOMO and feel terrible, especially if you were someone that held Bitcoin and sold it into alts. But at the end of the day, this is a sustainable setup for a broader altcoin season. You need this first phase of Bitcoin dominance increasing and Bitcoin increasing in order to suck liquidity into Bitcoin, which eventually disperses into alts. I just think you need to be patient with it because that dispersion may not happen until next year. In fact, that's what I've been saying for the past couple of months, right? Even last week in my full alt season analysis, I said I don't expect that rotation to happen until post the Trump victory, maybe even later. The altcoin run typically doesn't happen until Bitcoin has put in its top yet. I don't think Bitcoin has put in its top yet, so why would we get a crazy altcoin season? And if we were getting a crazy altcoin season right now, then I would say Bitcoin's topped. Because if we were seeing a crazy altcoin season right now, it would be too premature and it would signal the end of the cycle. The fact we haven't seen that yet gives me confidence that we haven't seen the end of the cycle, which is very, very, very important. So if tomorrow we go into a crazy altcoin season, get worried. Obviously, you'll be making a lot of money for a short period, but get worried about Bitcoin because it's way too early for that to be happening. So it's actually something you should be enjoying right now. I know you got to condition your mind into this, but you should be enjoying the Bitcoin pump because it's creating a bigger altcoin season later down the track, just like it did in 2020. I'll actually show you what happened in 2020. As you can see here, you had that big decrease in altcoins whilst Bitcoin was stable or going up. So you saw dominance increasing, and then you had that mega altcoin season afterwards. So it does feel very similar. And it makes sense because they were both halving years, right? And the halving, I think, in 2020 was earlier in the year as well, like April this year. So towards the end of a halving year, you see Bitcoin pumping and alts dumping. That's what we're seeing right now. And then into the post-halving year, that's when you see the altcoin rally. It's exactly mirroring the past cycles. Even if I go onto my thread here, you can see it is mirroring the last cycles, like Bitcoin price action wise and also alts price action wise. It's the exact same as 2020. So Cowan's analysis here, I think, is actually quite spot on when it comes to looking at the alt Bitcoin pairs right now. So what can you do with alts? We've already discussed, maybe de-risking a little bit. That's something I did. Obviously, whether you do it depends on how much stables you hold, how, what your risk tolerance is, how invested in the market you are. Is it your job? Do you have income? There's so many questions. It makes it hard for me to answer. All I can share is what I have done. Apart from that, I'd be doing this. I'd be making a list right now on TradingView of all the altcoins which are still green or are holding up in terms of relative strength versus Bitcoin right now, because even though most alts are moving sideways or dropping, you should be paying attention to the strong coins because there's a good chance when alt season does happen, if a coin could hold up now in this environment or even go up in this environment, it's probably going to perform even better in a pro altcoin season environment. So right now is a very important time to make your lists in terms of relative strength, because the market right now is giving you the information. It's literally spoon feeding you and telling you these are the coins that are going to perform. And if you go into the weekly, these become clear. On the daily, there can be some outliers, right? The higher the time frame, the more evidence there is. Obviously, the more you go up in terms of time frame, the more you start to see the memes take hold. If you go through the top 100, top 200, top 300 and you go onto the weekly here, you can see the type of coins that are performing. Obviously, there are some outliers like Chill Guy and all this random stuff. But if you pick the quality coins throughout the rest of the noise here, you can actually find some really good ones. And my analysis tells me there's really two sectors which fit into this: AI agent / AI meme coin plays and pure meme coin plays. These are pretty much all the coins in the top 100, 200, 300, 400 that are performing really well right now. RWA as well, like you have Mantra and coins like this performing well over the past week. You do have some coins like HBAR and XLM. Now, you could take my thesis and say, look, these are really strong performers, so we're actually going to long these coins, but I personally don't think they are going to sustain. I think they saw a bit of a shorter term bid because we saw a lot of like retail normies coming back and longing last cycle coins. I mean, if you have that thesis, it's totally okay, but I prefer to stick to the things like, you can see GOAT here, the RWA coins, PEPE, these kind of coins, Floki. Personally, not ADA, but maybe you're in that camp. DOGE, Radium, Solana at one point. Like these are still coins. Sui's performing well today despite the market being down. Aptos is. So looking at coins versus their Bitcoin pairs, just create a TradingView list, right? Go through, I'll show you how to do it. Go into TradingView, create a new list, and look at the Bitcoin pairs of coins, right? So just go through and look at the chart. Use a momentum indicator like the money noodle. I'm showing you on the USD pairs right now, but you can use Bitcoin pairs, right? Go through and just look visually, just scan through, like, does this look bullish or does this look bearish versus the Bitcoin pair? And you'll know pretty quickly, like, what looks bullish. You know, bullish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish. Like, it's really not hard to get an indicator. All you need to do is add all the coins you're interested in, go through and scan them all, bullish, bearish, against their Bitcoin pairs as well. I showed you USD there, but also do the Bitcoin pairs. If a USD pair looks good and a Bitcoin pair looks good and the altcoin's in a fundamental narrative that you like, then that's a tick to add that to your ultimate accumulation list. And then if we do get an altcoin decrease or a dump, or we continue to see a bit of bleeding across alts, on major red days, those are the coins that you accumulate because we are still largely in an accumulation period. Now, what we've seen, let me speak about memes for a second. What we've seen over the last few days is the meme market starting to reset, which tells me a lot about the meme market, by the way. So if you look at the weakest performers in the memes, a lot of these are the newer memes that haven't maybe established themselves as much. Some of the more riskier, speculative ones, the on-chain ones, which were really capturing a massive speculative rotationary bid as the big memes were pumping last week. They are selling off the most now because people are flying back into quality. So your bonks, your flokies, your mews, your pepes, your popcats, your mogs, they aren't dumping as much as the more speculative on-chain memes. I actually think right now, it's a bit of a contrary opinion maybe, but I think this might make sense. I think right now the better risk reward are in some of these memes that you can see in front of you. These major cap memes. Because I think with the meme market, right, you can play the rotation game. And if you're in the trenches and you're really involved in memes, you may be able to win that game. But I still think the best risk reward for the average investor is still in the larger cap leading memes from each sector. So, you know, the top frog, which is Pepe, the top dog, which is Doge, obviously. But then you also have, you know, Whiff and Floki as some front runners. The top cats, which are Popcat, Mew, Mog. The top Murad coin, which is SPX. These are leaders for a reason, and although maybe they can't 100x like some of your on-chain memes, they are going to be less sensitive to the market than some of the memes that you're seeing right now that are dumping a lot because they're rotations. And the problem is, right, when the meme coin market heats up again, let's say in 4 weeks or 5 weeks, those old rotations may not be hot rotations in 5 weeks, but I'm willing to bet you that all of the coins that I just pointed out, they will still be hot because they're leaders. So betting on the leaders in memes is still, in my opinion, a good risk-reward proposition. Because especially if Doge goes to $1, let's say it hits 130.40 bill, which I think is like $1.20, a lot of these other memes, they can still 5 to 10x, right? Don't be so greedy. You know, 5 to 10x in this market is still great. I mean, at least I think it's great. So you can still play them and you can still get a lot of upside on them without taking on risk. And the thing is, right, you can be in a situation where, okay, you move down the risk curve on memes, but then the rotation changes and, you know, Whiff and Pepe are exploding, but the meme you positioned in as a better play, as a beta play to Whiff or Pepe or Popcat actually perform worse because and whilst you watch the other ones pumping because the meta's changed. So betting on leaders takes some of the guesswork out of it. And you can also do this with ecosystems. Like, you know, if you're bullish on Tron, you've got Sundog. If you're bullish on Linear, you've got Foxy. If you're bullish on Base, you've got Brett. You can play that game as well. Now, the other sector which I'm interested in on dips specifically is the crypto AI sector. So some of my favorite plays in this sector right now are GOAT, the AI meme. I'm in since 27 cents in the Discord, on YouTube, and on Twitter, all publicly, still in that. Sold half on the way up, riding the rest. Think it's going to be a great one. Buying on dips. SPEC, that's my larger cap play, which is a trading agent play. So basically deploying agents, AI agents to enable you to trade. EMP, which is a smaller cap play, which offers infrastructure for anyone to actually launch their own AI agent. I think the AI agent space has really given people a glimpse into the potential use cases of crypto and AI. Like a couple of months ago, the crypto AI synergy was dubious at best. Now you have legitimate use cases, I think, that are now arising from the rise of the AI agent meta. So I think a lot of these coins and this sector in general is going to do really well and also benefits AI down the track. Another one is Guru, who I'm actually working with to build my Telegram bot, which is and Discord bot, which is absolutely amazing, by the way. They actually just launched their mainnet. Evgeny, who's the founder, is an absolute genius. He's literally a rocket scientist. He has a master's. And And I mean, his dev work on this protocol has been amazing. And I think that's one of the reasons why they have such big backers. As you can see in front of you, a lot of big backers: Wintermute, Parify Capital, Marana, like big players, Huobi Ventures. So they've got the big backers. I think they're only going to continue to grow and advance. They are a low cap, so just keep that in mind. It is risky. I think the FDV is only like 25 million or something like that. But I've been working really closely with them, and that's where I've been really impressed, because they've actually been helping me build this really cool application. And their mainnet's now live, and we're obviously going to be utilizing and linking into their network on the application that you can access through my Telegram or Discord very, very soon. Another play, which isn't an agent play, well, it wasn't an agent play until now. I'll show you a major announcement that they had that is making them an agent play, which I think is really cool, is Neural AI, which is a protocol that enables you to render like 3D in-game assets. So gaming studios, indie studios, or just anyone can actually render assets on the neural network. Super cool. But what they're rolling out is an AI agent layer for virtual worlds and gaming. So it's basically a tool which can help game studios create realistic AI characters using an AI agent. So an AI agent, this is why the AI agent space is so cool, right? And why I think it's really transformative. You basically have these agents which can populate entire environments and worlds, or team up with players to basically make the world more interactive and develop the world at a fraction of the cost. Like, I think eventually, obviously it's not there yet, but I think eventually you're going to see AI agents being able to build entire worldscapes, games, or applications, like entire user interfaces. Like, this is where the world's going, guys, and we're seeing the first example of it with a real economic incentive happening in crypto right now. So basically, the way to think about the new neural AI agent play is it's a way to make games feel alive, that even small indie studios can tap into. And there's a video right now which I'll show you, which is their teaser video for this. It's time to breathe life into your digital assets. Neural AI presents this. NFAIT. I think it's called Sentios, if I'm not mistaken, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, that is something I'm on the lookout for. And Neural, I think, is still at a reasonable valuation if you're interested in the token side. But they are now also an AI agent play. Obviously, they were always AI, but adding that agent capability, I think, is really, really cool. And I think that's only going to continue to develop. So I would say right now, the memes and the AI plays are still the two sectors that I'm looking at buying the dip most heavily on when those opportunities arise, as I discussed before. And obviously, anything that I do find, I'll also keep you updated in the Discord, whether it be, new AI agent plays, because I'm always on the lookout for new ones, etc. And if you do want to join, there's a link in the description below. And my full meme thesis on the new meme I've been accumulating will drop there tonight. And I've already posted it for those saying, "Mom, stop teasing and using it as bait." I've already posted it here in the Discord, right? But now I'm going even deeper and doing my full thesis, which has taken me a lot of time, which will be posted in the Discord first. But I want to thank you guys for supporting all of my content. I really hope I could help today, give you a little bit more of an opinion as to what's happening in the market, because I'm seeing a lot of people kind of not panicking, but just a little bit wary, worried, and I'm just trying to add a bit of sense and calmness and objective data to the situation and tell you, look, alts probably won't perform for the next couple of months. We're still kind of in that phase where it's Bitcoin dominance time. It will eventually reverse, but you may see some periods of weakness in alts from now until then. And for that reason, these dips, as I've said all year, should be used as accumulation opportunities, particularly the bigger flush outs. And the sectors I'm looking at are memes and AI. So that is my summary. I'll see you in the next video. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Peace out.